Welcome to my off-grid adventures. I'm Frank and I'm glad you're here with me today. Almost a year ago I posted this video about building a backstop for our archery range on our 60-acre off-grid Michigan property. This is one of the first videos that I ever made on this channel. It hasn't even been a year since I started doing YouTube, and this was just my second video. I think I have learned quite a bit over the last year, though I still have a lot of room for growth as a YouTube creator. To explain a little bit of what I did to create this backdrop, I just hung an outdoor rug and I attached it between two 2x4s and then hung it with some straps to the trees behind the target. And the goal here was just to make as large of a backdrop as possible for the times that some of our inexperienced shooters miss the target and end up spending more time chasing arrows than they do enjoying the sport. In this video today, what I'd like to do is just give you a quick update on how this backdrop has worked for us. And then I want to show you some footage that I took this weekend of my wife shooting in this archery range, and the footage was taken from my DJI Mini 4 Pro drone. So I've got some cool angles that I've never taken before. Since the drone footage doesn't have any sound with it, I thought that I'd walk through a few things with you about my love of this sport of archery over the course of my life and in my family's life. And while I do that, there'll be a slideshow of photos demonstrating the things that I will be telling you about. So to recap, there are three parts of this video. One is giving you an update on how the backdrop has worked, drone footage of my wife shooting archery with a couple of cool angles, and photos that illustrate my personal love story with the sport of archery. First, let me just give you a quick update on how well this backdrop has worked. I have to admit, I didn't have high hopes for this to work. I'm used to using professional backdrops for archery ranges, so this is something I wasn't super confident would stop the arrows, but it does, and it's worked really well. The arrows just kind of bounce off, and it makes it really easy if you overshoot or shoot a little bit to the right or left. You can go and find your arrows, and you don't have to spend time walking through the weeds and digging for the arrows. It was relatively easy to put together, and with the price point being around $100, it was much cheaper than most of the other routes I considered. So my wife and I give the Archery Backstop 2 thumbs up. While you watch the footage, I'm also going to include some photos in the corners of the video screen, and I'll use those as illustrations to tell you a little bit about my story with the sport of archery. My obsession with archery started when I was in junior high. I took to it immediately the first time I held a bow, and I couldn't get enough of it. I shot for anywhere between 2 and 4 hours every day, and I quickly built up my strength, and I soon became a very good shot. I started winning tournaments when I turned 14, and I took first place in our club every year until my first year of college. I even had ambitions to become a professional archer. My first bow that I fell in love with was a Darton 55 MXR. It was a compound bow that might not hold up against any of the bows you see today, but back then it was quite accurate. Later in life, my favorite archery brand became Mathews, especially the Conquest Pro models. When my 4 kids became old enough to shoot, they also took to the sport, and it was so satisfying for me to shoot with them at the same club that I shot at when I was in junior high. It was also really rewarding that the same guys that I shot with when I was a kid ended up being involved in teaching my kids to shoot. That was just so cool. Over the years, we've helped many others begin their journey with the sport of archery, including nephews and cousins, and even grandparents have gotten into the sport because of our love for it. However, everything changed for me in December of 2010 when I was in a major car accident that took me years to recover from. And one of the permanent consequences of the injuries from that is that I can no longer shoot a compound bow. Thankfully, I am getting enough strength back where I can shoot a recurve bow as long as the poundage is really light, and I can shoot a crossbow, but only one that has a crank on it. But I am glad that I can get back into the sport, and I really love watching other people shoot as well. I hope you enjoyed my rambling today. I hope you enjoyed the drone footage. And if you're an archer, I encourage you to introduce others to the sport so they can fall in love with it too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.